Hey everybody, welcome back to James Draws Everything, continuing today with our drawing every country in the world's flag series, and going back into Central Europe today. We're going to be doing Moldova. Alright, so Moldova, it is a former Soviet republic, and it sits between Romania and Ukraine. Was called Moldavia actually for most of its existence. Achieves independence from the Soviet Union in 1991, just like all the other ones. And then, just as I'm kind of getting started here, it does have a longer flag, so we'll just draw that out. And the flag of Moldova is actually very similar to the Romanian flag. And there is a reason for that, because Moldovans are basically Romanians. So they have that same kind of a tricolor blue, yellow, red flag. So we'll just start with that. And I do like this flag because it's got something pretty cool in the middle. It does have a coat of arms with a BIRB on it. So we like that here. Let me just kind of map out where I want things. Looks pretty good. And then, yeah, I'll give you a history lesson on Moldova. So Moldova, it is one of the poorest countries in Europe. I think it is the poorest country, but with the events of 2022, I think Ukraine took that title from Moldova, but that's more of just a consequence of the war. So Moldova technically is kind of the poorest country in Europe. And there's a lot of reasons for that. So Moldova, they were an Ottoman vassal state for a period of time, like after the Middle Ages, kind of going into the modern age. They were ceded to the Russian Empire in 1812. So then they became part of that. The territory was known as Bessarabia. And again, they're pretty much the same as the Romanian people, right? It's kind of the same ethnicity. So kind of creeping up into modern times. You're going to see a lot of overlap with history and kind of important decisions that are made and whatnot between Romania and Moldova. So again, kind of the same country, but they both kind of go their separate ways in a lot of things here. So let me just make that a little bit wider. There we go. Let's get my ruler out again. Yeah, and then after World War I, so like 1918, James Draws Everything has mentioned this a few times on his channel. Very bad time to achieve independence if you're up close to the former Russian Empire, which is now the Soviet Union. Moldova, really no different. They get gobbled up by the Soviet Union after World War I. The region of Wallachia and some other regions, kind of oversimplifying this, but that basically becomes Romania. And while Romania was part of the Warsaw Pact, right, they were friendly to the Soviet Union after World War II and throughout the Cold War. Romania was never absorbed into the Soviet Union, right? So there was never a Romanian SSR, but with Moldova there was, right? And so it's kind of one of these countries where it just it's kind of unnatural the way it was created, because after 1991, they achieve independence. But yeah, it's one of those states where it's just like a lot of it didn't really kind of make a lot of sense beforehand. There's a lot of Russian influence there, because the Russians also didn't have access to a lot of ports and things like that. So that's a big reason why there's a big Russian presence in that part of the world, because they wanted access to warm water ports for trade, commerce. So if you're in that part of the world with the Russians, it's just kind of unfortunate. Yeah. So prior to independence, though, like in 1940 is when they officially become incorporated into the Soviet Union, and that's part of the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact between the Nazis and the communists. So again, just kind of an unfortunate thing for the the Moldovans. I do like their flag though, and it is a pretty tricky one. So I'm just gonna kind of just work my magic here a little bit, do what I can. All right. Let me just see. Give me 1 second here. I just want to kind of draw where. Let's get like a cow head or something, like a bull looking thing. And I do like intricate flag designs, so Moldova has that going for it. It does have a pretty cool one. And it's got the BIRB. Okay, so let's just loop this around a little bit. And unfortunately, it's extremely similar to like the story of Ukraine, right? So you get this country that's kind of like not really like an ethnic like state, like it didn't really exist like prior to that. Mainly Romanians, but then also a lot of Russians, Ukrainians are there. So when communism falls, you're kind of left with these old administrative regions that were, where the communist borders were. But again, communist borders never paid attention to nationality, because nationality was, that was outlawed, right? So under communism, you couldn't have like a national identity. You were just a communist. So you get this leftover Moldovan state, which does have, a lot of friendly ties to like Romania, because that's basically who they are. But then it also has a lot of Russian people there. So you get a breakaway region of Transnistria, and you might hear about Transnistria every now and then. There are a couple other autonomous regions there where the people are more friendly to like Russians, because like half of the population is Russian that lives there. So whenever Moldova makes overtures to like joining the EU, then stuff kind of pops off and violence and whatnot between them. And doesn't that sound very familiar? Where have I heard that story before? Yeah, and again, Ukraine is only, it's right to the north, so it's right there. Similar story, different country. Don't hear about this one as much in the news, probably because it is so poor. It doesn't really have as much Western influence in that part of the world. It does have a strong agriculture economy, but again, Ukraine is like, whatever you want to say about Ukraine, that has a massive agriculture industry. It's not called the breadbasket of Europe for nothing. So there's a little bit more economic interests in Ukraine than there is Moldova. But yeah, it does have, again, breakaway regions that they even have their own currency, like Transnistria does. And let me just finish this BIRB here. Yeah, so it's kind of one of these countries that I don't think it's probably much longer for this world, unfortunately. Not saying that like they're going to be, genocided or anything like that, but I mean, like, it's just as far as like this existing as like its own thing. You're probably going to see this country split up soon, especially depending on what happens with like the Ukraine war and Russian influence there. We'll see. So yeah, I still have a little bit more work to do on this flag. Yeah, this is a tricky one. So these are kind of like his eyes. All right, there we go. And then I'm just gonna get my yellow in here, and then we're just gonna go over that BIRB coat of arms with some black, because there's still some more black details in there. Kind of looks like the Mexico flag a little bit, right? Just different color schemes. Mexico kind of has like a similar flag to that. So I like it. I think it's a cool flag. And so just before, let me see, I'll get my fine marker out here. And yeah, so it's a Roman eagle, you know, in dark gold. It's got a red beak, and its talons are carrying both a yellow cross and a green olive branch. Okay, and it's also got a yellow scepter in one of its talons. On its chest here, that shield, that's a it's got a star, an aurochs head, and it's based on, again, some kind of a, I guess, Romanian sort of national symbol. Romania, Rome, the Roman eagle. So there's his BIRB beak. Yeah, Moldova, it's actually one of the least visited countries in Europe, even counting the microstates, right? So, like, you would think just because Moldova is so much bigger than, say, like, you know, Monaco or Liechtenstein or something, because those are very tiny countries. No, they even get more visitors. Not even adjusting for, like, per capita or anything like that. It's just one of those lesser-known countries, and I think just kind of, because it isn't sort of a hot spot in the world, I think people just kind of generally stay away from there. It does have a lot of corruption problems. And a big reason, too, unfortunately, you know, why they're a poorer country. You hear about, like, when I talk about the Baltic countries, right? Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, you know, they get rid of communism. Overnight, they're rich countries, right? Like, they got rid of that albatross. And actually, okay, let me just, there's the cross. So, yeah, he's got a cross in his BIRB beak. And, whew, there's a lot going on with this one. All right, where was I? Yeah, so Moldova, they go back to communism. So, hey, let's try it again, right? Yeah, from 2001 to 2009, they reinstituted communist rule. Because, hey, why not, right? Let's just try it for the 400th time. And, yeah, and obviously that didn't help. But okay, and then I'm just going to drag some of those stars. All right, I think we're just about done. All right, so let me just get my bigger marker out here. We'll close out these borders and call it a day. So yeah, Moldova, cool flag. Not a country a lot of people talk about. Basically the exact same situation as Ukraine, but maybe you know, luckily for Moldova, the West doesn't see it that way, so we're staying out of their business for now. But yeah, I do think it's a country that just kind of, based on its shaky footing and all the breakaway regions there, and just kind of how unnatural of a nation state it really is. Probably won't see Moldova stick around for much longer. It'll probably be broken up or something, but we'll see. So that's Moldova, aka Moldavia, the former Moldovan SSR. Let me know what you think about that flag. It is one that I like. I like that BIRB. So like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch you on the next video.